fun of it and go, he said, hey, this shirt's older than you are. And then I felt really old.
All right, so let's see we get started, gentlemen.
Let's do it.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Ballpark.
It wasn't even me. It wasn't me this time. It was not me.
Shit, let's go again. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to an episode of Ballcaps and Bagpipes, a Scottish baseball podcast. I am John McKellar of the Glasgow Comets.
And I'm Jason Durr, former league president and Baseball Scotland Hall of Famer.
And Jason, we're joined tonight by an excellent guest, guy I had the distinct pleasure of meeting in person finally last week. We're joined by Andy Brown. Andy, welcome back to the show.
Thanks very much for having me, gents. It's good to see back on the computer screen, but also it's nice to meet one half of you, or one half of you two, live in person.
Yep, and what a day it was. We're going to talk about your trip up north to Scotland, where you painted not one but two Baseball Scotland ballparks, the wonderful fields that they have up in Aberdeen, which I was just at this past Sunday. More on that in a minute. And in my opinion, probably the most attractive ballpark in Scotland now, the Tayport field up Tayport way. You've got the backdrop of the sea, you've got the city of Dundee behind, trees line the kind of side of the ballpark. It's just a fantastic location for baseball. And that was a really fun day as well. We had a wee bit of rain that we had to get through, but it didn't dampen the spirits, and certainly your efforts were in no way curtailed by it.
No, it was fantastic. I had an umbrella and my dad's bungee cords from his bike, so I managed to get that onto the easel, and it kind of helped. But it only rained for a little bit. It looked like it was going to rain all afternoon, but it just let down for a while, and then it was all right. It was good.
Yeah, we're going to touch on your trip to Scotland in just a bit, but as usual, Jason, let's get started today with a rundown of this past Sunday's scores.
Fantastic.
Now, I know you've got a game report this week, which is nice. We've got more than just a final score from the Edinburgh game. Let's start with my Comets. We were 4-0 undefeated moving into this weekend. We no longer are. We got beaten for the first time in league play this year by the Aberdeen Oilers. That was a fantastic game. I think something that we can attribute our great start to this year is the fact that we've gotten some key hits, and the batting lineup, top to bottom, has been very motivated and has been hitting the ball very well. We were limited to, I think it was 3 hits overall over the course of the AAA game this past Sunday. So some great pitching, some really good fielding from both teams. And the Aberdeen team took advantage of some really key walks and managed to get some key hits at just the vital moments. So we were up 6-2 at one point, and they came back, they rallied to win it 12-8 in the end. Overall, though, a great day of baseball, and I think a fair result in the end.
Yep, I had a quick chat with Stephen Evans, obviously the coach of the team there. He said it was a solid team effort. He was really happy that the team came back, besides being down 12-6 to win 12-8 or 6-2 and come back and win 12-8. They said they had 13 total hits for the game, so that's not bad at all. And Last picked up his 3rd win of the season there, so it was another solid outing from Last there. So it must have been the promise of barbecue after the game and the 28-degree weather that really threw you guys off, huh?
I think it's the fact that Albert had a bit too much barbecue that messed us up, actually, to be honest. He had, I think, 3 burgers over the course of the game, and that was he was walking out to third base while eating a burger at one point, and it's just like, dude, how many of those things have you had? It was just Albert being Albert.
So there's a great story from Gates Brown. He was a Dodger, and he was he had taken some hot dogs during the game. I think he was in Brooklyn Dodgers or in LA, and they put him into pinch run, and he put it in the side of his shirt, thinking, nothing's gonna happen, and he slid into second base on a base hit, and had mustard down the bottom of his shirt there. It's one of those great stories that I picked up from all the stuff I read there. So yeah, I can imagine that would be the same with Albert there, with a hot dog in the back pocket.
That's got to be similar. That's in that kind of similar vein as the Steve Lyons story, isn't it? The Steve Lyons moment.
Yes.
With the trousers. From my perspective, unfortunate news. I had to leave the game early due to a hamstring injury, which has pretty much been coming. I've had an issue with hamstring for a few weeks. On a ground out in the 4th inning, I started kind of bombing it down the line because I was trying to hustle. And I just felt my left hamstring completely seize up. So at the moment, I'm trying to rest it, and we'll just have to wait and see how I feel on Sunday. Pretty gutting to have to leave the game, especially when we were up 6-2, and then to watch as the guys then went on to lose the game. It was painful to see. However, like I say, it was a really great game of baseball. There was no one kind of like it was at fault or anything like that. The Aberdeen guys, like I say, just took advantage of some key moments and got the hits at the right time and took advantage of a lot of walks that they got.
Well, there you go. So you came out of the game and all of a sudden you lost. You're obviously the talisman that keeps the Comets together.
I mean, I really don't think so. I think it was already on the cards because, like you said, last held us to 3 hits and picked up another win. He pitched really well. His breaking ball looked absolutely filthy. He had a really good curveball this past Sunday last, so props to him for holding us to so few hits. It was kind of the opposite. Like in the early innings, it was the opposite way around. Where we took advantage of a few walks, and we got a couple of runs in early, and then we managed to tack on a few more. But then from there, they went into shutdown mode, and after Federico came into the game, it was going to be an uphill battle from there for us. So just a really well played game from both sides, and a deserved victory for Aberdeen. It was a great trip, and they were really great hosts again, like Tayport were last week. Let's move on to Edinburgh Cannons. They hosted the Tayport Breakers. The Cannons won 20-1, so a really high-scoring game from the Cannons. It feels like they're starting to come into themselves now and really live up a bit more to the hype that they had coming into this season. Obviously, Rory at the start of the year and leading into the season was really hyping how excited he was about the Cannons lineup this year. It looks like they're starting to come into their own and put some wins up.
So I talked to Rory again, get kind of a game report for him as well. It said Davy Farr was on the mound, and it was not Davy Farr of 2003. It was the Davy Farr of, say, 2021. So a bit of a difference there. But it said what helped is they batted around the second inning. They scored 10 runs in that second inning. And it wasn't necessarily a whole lot of errors or things like that there. They just kept putting the ball in play. And that was the key to scoring all those runs there. Harris pitched well. He only gave he struck out 9 guys, and Rory wanted to say that Marina played some amazing defense for Tayport there and was all over the place, stopping the ball there. So he wanted to make sure that she got a shout out for her amazing play.
There's that man Harris once again. You know, that's a week removed from blanking the Galaxy 8-0. Here he is. He pitches another gem and holds the Breakers to just 1 run. And the Breakers, like I mentioned last week, they were putting a lot of battle and ball against us last week. They're very capable of hitting the baseball. It's just a case of getting everyone firing on all cylinders at once and getting some consistency about their game, and they're going to start winning games. As it stands, obviously they're 0-6, so still looking for that first league win, but it can only be a matter of time for Tayport.
We'll see. I hope to catch a game with one of their games soon to see them play. So I'm looking forward to watching them.
Yeah, but many props to the Cannons, and like they say, in this league, football in play is about 2/3 of the battle. You know, like the fields for the most part have hops and dips that not many ballparks have. You know, so you put the ball in play and literally anything can happen. And we've both seen our fair share of anything can happen over the years.
Well, we'll have to ask Andy his opinion on the various fields around the UK.
We shall, yeah. We're going to touch on that just shortly because we only have one more game to get to, and it was the Glasgow Galaxy back in Glasgow. They dropped another one to the Diamond Devils this time. The Devils were 13-3 winners and improved to 5-1, so that takes them a half game ahead of our Comets at the top of the Scottish National Baseball League. It looks like that was another frustrating one for the Galaxy. If I'm the Galaxy and I'm John Tafe, I'm probably getting a bit frustrated by some of these the lack of offense and run production that's coming from their games there. Obviously last week they ran into a really great pitching performance. As far as the Devils this week, I'm not sure whether it was the same kind of scenario or what's been the deal there, but they've only scored 3 runs over those 2 games. A team like the Galaxy, they're going to be expected to do a lot more than that.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I was hoping to get a game report from the guys there and they didn't make it in time. So hopefully next time we'll be able to give you more details of what happened during the game.
Yeah, we're very slowly, very gradually starting to put together more reports and stuff like that, as well as just the scores. I know that Paul's making a massive effort on updating the website, and that's going to be a key resource for us moving forward once stats and stuff like that start to get added to that. So that was basically the slate of games from this past Sunday. Another great week, another fantastic weekend of baseball. It looks like people have had fun.
Not a great week for Glasgow. Everyone else had a fantastic week. So
yeah. I mean, it's been a while since both teams have lost. So yeah, not a great week to be a Glasgow player, but I think from our loss, I think we've learned probably as much from this one loss as we did from the 4 wins before it. It's important to stay focused. It's important to take your chances when you're at the plate. It's something we've done really well in the early part of the season. We weren't able to do that on Sunday. It's from there it becomes working on getting that consistency. We've made a couple of errors on the base running side of things, so that's something we need to tighten up. I think moving forward, I think we cost ourselves a couple of runs this week, and also last week in Tayport. I think Lou, our catcher, calculated that there were 6 outs that we basically gave away, so 2 innings worth of potential runs that we gave away from. I got picked off at third at one point when we were up quite a few. There were a couple of guys who went on plays that, given the chance to do it again, I don't think we would have. So overall, I think all the teams have a lot of positives, and all the teams have probably by now identified what they have to work on. So as we move toward the middle of the season in the second half, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the dynamic shifts and the form table and stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah. We'll cover it more as the season progresses and see what improvements happen and what don't. And like there, I mean, that's the whole point of the developmental league. You start learning that stuff there. So
absolutely, yeah. The developmental game, the Comets did win 11-1. So I got to taste a wee bit of success at least.
Yeah, so we'll definitely start getting more information on these developmental games, and let all these new guys who are just playing the sport get a little bit more of a shout out and let you know how you're doing, and let you know we're supporting you as well, not just the AAA games, but we want to hear about the developmental games as well. One
thing actually I do want to touch on from the development game on Sunday in Aberdeen is that at one point I saw an all-female infield. The Oilers had a female first base person.
First basewoman,
second base, short, and third, all women, which was great to see. I think it's a great testament to the inclusiveness and the drive to get more women involved in the sport in Scotland. And Aberdeen seem to be doing a fantastic job of that. They seem to be miles ahead of anywhere else. Obviously, Marina, a product of the Express, and they've now added even more women to the fold. So it's great to see.
Perfect. All right. Well, we've covered everything for Scottish baseball this week, and it's time to bring on our guest.
Yes. So, Andy, we brought you back on, of course, to talk about last weekend and the weekend before. You came up to Scotland for a week or so with your mum, Moira. The lovely Moira. Do please give my regards to your mum. It was a pleasure meeting both you and your mum in person last Sunday. But let's rewind the clock a bit further back to the week before. You had arrived in Scotland, and your first game you took in was at Aberdeen's Field. Now, talk to us first off about the journey up. How did you get on, and how did that get arranged? First off, how did you go about arranging the trip up to Scotland?
Well, I started. I went down to the Battle of Britain in Farnham, and that was in I think May. Was it? I think it was late May. Earlier on in the year. And of course, it was great, great occasion, teams from all over the place, teams where it was like the West Midlands League put together a team kind of all stars, I guess, or people who were available. So I met a load of people there, people from Twitter that I'd kind of like you guys, people that I knew, but I'd never actually met from a screen. Got talking to some people and started to think, I want to come and see some more grassroots baseball over COVID. I mean, with the lockdown and everything, I was supposed to be in Mexico. Painting the league over there in 2020. But of course that couldn't happen. So through lockdown, and when the lockdown's lifted in England, I've been painting the local Sunday League football just around here in Rugby. And I went to the Essex Arrows in, I think it was November 2020. It was in between one of the lockdowns had been lifted. And that was like my first taste of British baseball. And of course, I know Matt Mutton and the British Baseball Podcast. I know the work that you guys are doing. But, I've painted in well, before Scotland, I think it was 9 countries around the world, but I'd never really painted in the UK, and I didn't really understand British baseball. I was like, you know, I'm from here, but I'd lived over in Asia for 10 years, traveled around Latin America and America in 2019, and it was, you know, it's great to be here and actually see baseball in our culture, played our way, in our towns, in our cities, in our landscape, like in a place that I recognise almost, you know. So it kind of came through that. I started doing that, and then people got in touch, and then it was Stephen at the Aberdeen Oilers got in touch and said, look, we'd love to have you up here if you can come. And like I was saying to Jason earlier, I knew it was a long way, but I didn't know how far it was. It's ridiculous how far it is from rugby. Like I said to Jason, you get into Scotland and then you're like, oh yeah, we're in Scotland. But then you look at the GPS away and you're like, oh, we're not in Aberdeen yet. We've still got a way to go. So it was quite a journey, and it's quite a long way up there, but it was awesome. I loved it. It was really cool. Like my mum, as you say, my mum came with me. She's Scottish, and she hasn't, you know, really been back to Scotland too much in the last little while. And she really wanted to go and see, you know, the places that she knew from her childhood and grandparents lived and all the rest of it. So it was a perfect opportunity. It was, okay, well, I'm going to go up to Aberdeen. We'll go and do Aberdeen. And it was a second baseball game. Her first baseball game was in Korea, in Seoul. And a second baseball game was the Aberdeen Oilers versus the Tayport Breakers. So quite the ticket. And she had a great seat right behind home plate. So I think you know, it doesn't get much better than that. And it was just superb. I mean, you know, Granite City, I didn't, you know, you hear about Granite City, but I've never been there, I've never seen it. But you get there and it's such an imposing city, such imposing buildings, really, really beautiful. But on the day, well, on the night before, it was just absolutely thundering down with rain. I was like, oh my goodness, like we've come all this way. What are we going to do if it's coming down like this tomorrow in the day? But luckily it wasn't in the day, but what it was so foggy. We're going through the city and you could just see a little bit, you could see, it was quite beautiful. You could see these like shadowy figures of like people and then ships and container ships and oil rigs and, you know, these wonderful old buildings. But then you got to the field and you could just about make out like home plate, but then you couldn't see anything else like in the distance. It was just these shadowy figures. And it was like, oh dear, like what's going to happen here? Are we actually going to get to play? But it did, and they played. But it made for a really nice painting. It's quite a kind of almost ghostly painting. It's this one behind me here because this fog kept coming off the sea, and then it would blow out again, and it come on in a bit, and it blow off again. But it was also the 4th of July, so it was kind of funny being, you know, it was actually my birthday. So it was my birthday. I'm stood on this hill in Aberdeen. There's fog blowing in and out. There's my mum watching her second baseball game down there, and she looks like she's making notes. She was making notes. It looked like she was a pro scout, like scouting for the next hot talent. I was like, well, I don't know what she's doing, but anyway. And then you had everyone playing baseball. It was just amazing. It was so cool. I loved it, and it was, you know, it was very different to a lot of the times. Like I've spent 4th of July in the States. Like in the recent years, I've been over there, and of course it's, you know, fireworks and it's got everything going on. And here we are in Aberdeen with this fog and mist and this, but it was just superb. And they had a barbecue. Like you said before, inclusive. Like there were people from all around the world playing, all nationalities. Everybody was there. You know, people from Italy, a guy from Iraq, a girl from Czech Republic, just everywhere. And it was so impressive. And they were just so welcoming. And it was good standard of play as well. And it was really cool to see how, I'm going to say how seriously it's taken, but also it's so social as well. You know, it's serious, but also everyone's just having such a good time. But the seriousness of it is just really impressive in that, like Tayport and Aberdeen, you know, these are like one guy from Mississippi, Tupelo, Mississippi, where Elvis was born, who comes over to Scotland and ends up building like this field of dreams on the estuary or on the side of the River Tay there. And this is Tayport. I mean, I didn't know Tayport before. It's quite a small place. And there's this guy trying to build a big baseball team. It's so admirable. And then you got Dundee in the background, and you got Broughty Castle, Broughty Castle, whatever, built in 1495. So you've got this amazing backdrop with these old castles. You've got sailboats out there. It's just gorgeous. And then you've got Stephen in Aberdeen, same sort of thing. He comes over from Arkansas. I think he said his first game was 2013, and they only had 8 players, I believe. So they had to borrow a player. It might have been the Cannons. And again, it's just like, wow, this is drive and passion. And, you know, it's very much Field of Dreams. And, you know, I was in Iowa at the Field of Dreams on my trip in 2019, and it blew me away. And it was very, very special place to have got to. And it really, really spoke to me, it really meant something to me. And I just feel like that's the kind of thing that the Scottish Baseball League, I can see what you guys are doing with the podcast, what the teams are doing with just, you know, they're having fun. they're getting into it, they're learning about the game, they're spreading the game, and they're bringing something. There's something happening in all these places and all these cities that people can get involved in. I think it's just awesome. I love it. It's really, really good.
Excellent. So sticking with the Aberdeen game for the time being, I want to dive a little bit more into the process that you go through when you live paint a game.
Yeah.
Now, you've mentioned the fog. Now, obviously,
Yeah.
we see the paint right there behind you. It made for a really great painting in the end.
Yeah.
But did you go into that game with a picture in your head? Obviously, I know that you did a sketch before the game
Yeah.
you played in to give you an idea of, right, this is what I'm going to include in where.
Yeah, right.
Did you, after you had arrived, once you had made your sketches and all that and you started, did you have an idea in your head and how much did that change moving forward when the fog came in and turned it into a bit of a different experience?
That's a good question. I like that as a question. That's a really good question, but it's a really hard one because it's like, of course, I've done it before. I've painted all my life. I've painted loads and loads of baseball stadiums now. I reckon in Scotland, I'm somewhere into the 90s with the Scottish ones. But like, it's like I know what I'm doing. Like, I know what I'm looking at. It's quite instinctive. But there's also those moments where you're just like, what the hell am I doing? Like, what am I doing here? And because it's not like, in my head, I think, right, I know what I'm doing. I've done this before. I've got that confidence. But I never really know exactly how it's going to turn out. But that's part of it. You're there in the moment. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what the weather's going to be like. You don't know, you might see, I don't know. I was at the Worcester Sorcerers on the weekend and a spaniel starts running across the field at one point. And there's little things like that happen that you never expect to happen. And there's a little spaniel running across the field. And, you can then decide to include it or not, or whatever you want. But it's all these little things that it's just a moment, and capturing that atmosphere in the day. So it's I've got it kind of stored up here somewhere and I have an idea. But it's like when I'm looking around at the crowd and we've got Jason West here in the thing here. We've got the guy with the camera behind here. Mum's down here. We've got all the people here from all the game, but I'm looking around in the crowd and I'm like, oh, okay, he's doing this, and he's like picking up some bats, and he's I don't know, eating his hot dog or putting it in his back pocket or whatever he's doing with it, and all that sort of stuff.
Excellent. Now, talk me through a wee bit more of your process. You've mentioned obviously the players and stuff like that. I would assume obviously that you would go and you would kind of take stock of the panorama of it, and you would take a look around and think, right, this is the place I'm in. This is the stuff that's in that place. This is what's happening in the place. And this is what I'm going to draw of the place. How do you choose what goes in and what doesn't? How do you go about kind of filling everything out?
Yeah. I think to me, one of the things I love about baseball is its drama, the emotions, the drama, the atmosphere. That's what really gets me and draws me into it, the storylines. And I always feel like that you've got the pitcher on the mound, you've got the guy in the box, you've got the umpire and all that kind of like all the tension going on there. And it's like they're on stage, and it's like, there's this performance. There's this guy like on the mound with his ball. He's going to try and get it past this guy with a stick. And it's like a stage. So I feel like, right, this is the setting. I'm looking at the backdrop of the stage. I'm looking at the actors. Okay, who are our main characters? We've got this guy, we've got this guy. What's distinctive about him? Jason West, if you've ever met him, very, very tall, huge guy. Used to play American football.
Yes. He's a big guy.
Oh, unbelievable. So, you've just got those characters. So I'm trying to capture, okay, what are these people like? What's the characteristic that I can get in here to give the sense of this place? Even with Aberdeen here, it had the thistles in the foreground. And it was just fantastic. I'm stood on this hill and I was whistling like the Beatles Fall on the Hill while I'm doing it. And I'm like, what am I doing standing on this hill in the fog painting this? But you've got these thistles, you've got all this stuff going on. I was just like, this is just amazing. I can't, I pinch myself from times like that. I was just saying, this is it's outrageous. Love it.
Excellent. Is it easier or is it more difficult to paint a ballpark like that one where it's a more grassroots environment? There's probably a lot more character to certain parts of this than a major league ballpark, where obviously it's an established place. You've seen it on TV 1,000 times. You know what to expect going in. More, I think, probably than a major league park. Is it easier or is it more difficult? Is it more enjoyable?
Oh, that's a tricky. Okay, is it more enjoyable? They're both enjoyable for different things, and the same with the painting. Like with these sorts of places, you've not got so much, of course. You've not got so many people in the crowd. You've not got usually the big city skylines or something. So you've kind of got a lot of gaps. There's a lot more things there's almost less there, and in some ways that's harder because you've actually got to make more. You've got to make the positioning of them, and you've got to make the piece capture more within it almost with less stuff. But I love that. It's just a very beautiful essence of again, we've got a big oak tree over here. We've got some football or like, again, Aberdeen, it's got the cricket strip, and it's got the way the boundary, the cricket boundary comes just over, just near second base or whatever. And then in Tayport, you've got, like I say, you've got the caravan campsite at the back, and you've got this beautiful tree just behind home plate. Of course, we had you guys, like the Comets, all on the other side of the field in that painting. So you've kind of, I don't know, I'll quickly hold up this one here, but you can kind of see it. There's almost less there than there would be in a major league ballpark. So you've almost got to do more with it. So it's easier and harder at the same time, although that doesn't really answer the question.
So the first question I had when I asked John, I said, I met Andy. I said, how much did you pay him to put him in the paintings? That was the one.
Well, he's the guy hitting the home run at the thing there, but that cost a lot. Charge extra for that. But actually, to be fair, John did get a really nice hit, and I got it on film. It was incredible. It just so happened I just got it on film. So,
if you look up Andy Brown's YouTube, you will see me scalp a ball quite far and run like an absolute moron.
Don't watch skip to like 7 minutes in the video and just watch that 30 seconds over.
I mean, I think that for a capsule of your experience, those videos are both absolutely fantastic. Actually, I would actually recommend that people check that out. So I think we've already shared the Tayport one, but we'll definitely share both videos on the Ballcaps and Bagpipes Facebook and Twitter pages to let people see that, because I think it's a really great snapshot of the process you go through. Obviously, starting with the sketch, starting with, you paint the background. Like I say, like, this is where we are. This is the place that we're in. This is what we're doing in that place. I think both paintings were absolutely fantastic. I think the Tayport one came out really well. In particular, I managed to see that in person. But yeah, like, what I wanted to touch on next is a wee bit more about the trip and in general. Now, you mentioned obviously that your mum is from Scotland originally. And I know that you guys, you actually painted quite a few stops on your travels in Scotland. Do you have any highlights or things that will stick with you in the memory from that part of your time here?
Yeah, there was, it was fantastic. We went from Aberdeen, kind of up around the coast, to Fraserburgh and Peterhead, Penang, and just like Peterhead, we're just. There was all the harbour there, so I'm doing a little bit of painting. My mum paints a very, very small amount. She's very good for somebody who doesn't really paint, but she did a little bit of painting. And then we kind of went down towards towards Fort William and all, like down the kind of the split there almost. And then ended up in Oban, went over to Mull, Tobermory over there. It's just super. I mean, it's such a beautiful country, and also like you can't beat the people. I mean, it's so nice where you just get talking to people. Like everyone's just so friendly, willing to have a chat, hang out for a bit. Very, 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 very kind, very, very good. And then, of course, we ended up where Mum was born, and we went around kind of, again, the places I've heard about and where my granddad was born. I've been to these places before, but not in many, many years. So it was kind of cool to go back there and kind of see, I guess, my family history. And I was walking around the Dyes Harbour, a very small fishing village just outside of Kirkcaldy. And, I know my granddad grew up there, and my great uncle, and I know they had a boat in the harbour, so I can almost pitch their little rowing boat and, the stories that I used to hear about all that stuff. So again, it was really cool just to, kind of touch back to that, so it was a real cool, really amazing trip, and to do it with my mum was very special as well, because she's actually, of course, she's got all the stories and got all the memories. And we went and saw her old school and where her grandparents lived, but you just get talking to the people who live nearby. They're just people just talking, have a chat about the neighbourhood and what's going on, and it was superb. So I mean, highlights everywhere. It's just so beautiful. The only real issue was that it wasn't. We did. This weather now would have been amazing. It was a little bit on the cloudier side, but it's still amazing. Just amazing place. I loved it. Really loved it.
Yeah, I was actually going to touch on that in regards to your mum and you, and ask how regularly that's been able to be an occurrence for you and your mum together to come up. Obviously, I imagine it's been quite a while. Obviously, like you mentioned there. So, what did it mean to you as an adult at the age you are now, to be able to come up with your mum and experience that again?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was really good. I mean, I can't really put it into words, I guess, because I think I know that it meant a huge amount to her. I know that, she hasn't been to Scotland in a long, long time. You know, all our relatives up there, they no longer exist or whatever. So, you know, again, it's kind of got that, it's quite emotional in some respects, going back to those places, especially for her, and, you know, places that she went with her dad and with her mum. So, of course, you know, we could talk a lot about those sorts of things and discuss it. So, yeah, quite special, very special, really, to just have that, opportunity. And again, because I lived abroad for like 10 years, been away for 11 or so, you know, I came back for holidays, but I've not had, you know, real close, not like a trip like that for a long time. So it was great to be able to have that opportunity, and just learn a little bit more, just see a little bit more, get in touch with my roots again a bit. You know, the last time I was there with my family, I must have been like a teenager, so it was a long time, sadly. But yeah, it was superb. I loved it, and to be able to do some painting and paint some baseball whilst there was even, you know, that was just the icing on the cake. And it was kind of cool that my mum could see me doing my work, you know, see me what I do and how I do it, and you know, she's fussing down there about whether I want a coffee and all that. No, I'm trying to get on to work, mum, but you know, all that stuff. But it was kind of, but it was also, honestly, it was a second baseball. Aberdeen was number 2 baseball game. Tayport was number 3. She loved it. Just loved it. Like, this is, you know, she's only seen one before. She doesn't really know an awful lot about baseball, but just the atmosphere and just the people. You know, everyone. You know, we have a little chat and see what's going on, and you know, there was a bit of food here and there. Beautiful, amazing.
The one and only. Sorry, Jason, on you go.
I was going to say, so that means next year your mom's already planning a trip to Edinburgh and Glasgow, so you can knock the other 2 out of the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Would love to. I mean, yeah, if we can come up to Edinburgh and Glasgow and do them, I don't know, this season, next season, sometime, we'll be there. We'll absolutely be there. Because I've got my little van as well. I bought a little van just after around when I went to Farnham. I bought this very small camper van, and just because I've been thinking about getting one for ages, and I thought, you know what, this will just give me an excuse to get out and about a bit, and with a view of painting some baseball. And it's worked out brilliantly like that. Just camping in the, you know, just stop off for the night somewhere and camp. Superb.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the one issue I had with the Tayport painting is that you weren't able to get the guy in the cage into the picture.
Man in the cage.
Yeah. So there was this dog in a cage at one point, right, Jason? So obviously they've brought this kind of fence type thing for this dog, so obviously it can be protected from the ball. But then at one point during the game, we kind of noticed that there was a guy like just lying in the cage, and we were like, "What the hell is going on down there?"
With the dog.
I don't really know, because he was sort of curled up, so I don't know if he had the dog.
I think it was
what, but
it scuffed one. It was an error in the outfield, so that's it. You're in the cage. That's the thing.
It's a sin bin.
Yeah.
Now you touched on Worcester Sorcerers earlier.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that experience, going back obviously down to England and visiting Worcester. What was the ballpark like to paint?
Yeah, fantastic. Again, like you know, Worcester is, I don't know if you've ever been to Worcester, but beautiful city, like great cathedral and just gorgeous by the River Severn there and all the rest of it. Loads of history around it, which I'm always excited about. And so went out to Worcester on Sunday, and again, it's in this beautiful little village. I mean, it's prime. I was driving around this area and I just thought, this is, and I never use this word, but like if you're gallivanting, this is the kind of place you gallivant. It's like these beautiful little roads, windy roads where they go up and down these little subtle hills. And then you're in like this place where, and again, really impressive. It's you know, a permanent ballpark they've got there, and it's just like, wow, this is fantastic that they've set this up. And it's again, Luke, that was it. Luke at the Worcester Sorcerers. You know, he's a baseball fan, and he decided, right, I'm going to start a club. And so impressive to get it set up. I think for anybody, I just think, wow, that's a lot of work to get it set up and keep it running. And again, beautiful, great big oak trees all around. Yeah, I mean, the cows in the field behind over there, just like, it was like, you think about a beautiful English day, typical English summer day. That was it. It was, yeah, stunning. Before that was at the Birmingham Metalheads as well. That was that one just behind me here. And again, that was very similar, like absolutely stunning place. But again, I like there that they've got like a sleeve patch. I'm quite interested in like sleeve patches and like just the logos and all the rest of it, of course, the visuals, I guess. And they've got a sleeve patch that's got the coat of arms of the Canadian medics who started the baseball in Birmingham in World War II. They were at a hospital there. And again, I love how those traditions have been carried on, and that knowledge of the history and what's gone before. And it's all here in the paintings, and I feel like I love just trying to get it all down.
Absolutely perfect. Thank you so much for joining us, Andy. Now, prints are due to be available for all those games in the very near future. Am I right?
Yeah, they're all on the website now, but they're not quite ready to be posted out, because when I do the painting, it's then got to dry. I've got to get it photographed. Got to then usually tweak it, just make sure the colours are getting colour matched. Do a test print, go back, get the prints. But they're ready. So if people order them, they will be coming out. They should be ready in the next week or so, I reckon.
Perfect. And the website's andybrownstadiums.com, am I right?
Correct. Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
That's it. Thank you very much.
andybrownstadiums.com. I've pre-ordered my print. I can't wait. It's a fantastic painting.
Thanks
thank
so
you
much
so very much. No worries. Thank you so much for coming up. And I really appreciated the postcard as well. That was
no worries at all.
Lovely touch. Before we move on to the preview of this Sunday, just wanted to touch on the gentleman behind your shoulder there, Oscar Charleston. You just finished that painting.
Josh Gibson, this one. We've got
shoulder. Yeah.
Christy Matheson.
Christy Matheson, sorry.
Christy Matheson.
I've got the wrong name there.
Let me let me pull him down. Oscar Charleston is in my Negro League one, actually. But...
Too many stuns.
Here he is.
Too many sons.
This is just a very small, quite quick watercolor of Christy Matheson. And it was the other night. I got all my books over here in my library, and I've got some beautiful baseball books, old vintage kind of baseball. I really like the Dead Ball era stuff. And I just did this quick sketch of him in charcoal. And then today it was hanging up on the wire here. And I just thought, you know what, I need to get some watercolor on that. So just blocked it in, and Christy's done. So another one for a wall somewhere. That's what I really need, walls. So
is he going to be available in print form?
Yeah, absolutely. He'll be on the site.
And do you know what's coming next for you? What can we expect from you?
Well, I've got the Leicester Blue Sox. I'm going to be in Leicester in August, and I'm really just looking to fill up August. So if there's any teams out there watching this or listening to this, anyone associated with a team and they want me to come along, please get in touch through my Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. And we'll make that happen. And because I think I'm hoping I'll be able to travel again September time ish. So I'm looking at that at the moment. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be around September. So I'm trying to book up like August, like the Sundays in August. So Leicester are booked in, and I'm hoping, just more British baseball, and then hopefully overseas and paint some, get back to some other places, new places. And again, just from being in this country painting baseball in the UK, just learned so much more about like European baseball, and I was talking about Austrian baseball the other day, and I'm just like, wow, that sounds all right. Let's get to Austria. So we'll see if we can make that happen.
You've got the camper van now. You can definitely make it happen.
I don't know about Austria, Jason. That's a long way in this camper van.
To be fair, it's a 9-hour drive from Edinburgh to Poland, so you could definitely make it to Austria.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, that's it. We're going, lads. Let's go. Let's do it. You two and my mum. That's it. We're going.
Right. We're taking it on the road. All right, that's fine.
How much for fuel money? What have you got? Amazing, Andy. Thank you so very much for joining us again.
Thanks, guys.
Hopefully, we will get you up to Glasgow and Edinburgh and see you again. It was an absolute pleasure meeting you. I was telling Jason afterwards. They always say never meet your heroes, but having spoken to you on the show before and interacting with you a wee bit over social media, to meet you in person, it was an absolute pleasure, man. And I hope that we get the chance again soon.
Nice one. All right, cheers, guys. Appreciate it.
So before you go, then, it is at Andy B as an artist on Twitter.
Yeah.
You're on Facebook at Andy Brown as an artist, and as we said, andybrownstadiums.com for your previous work and obviously pre-orders of the excellent prints that you've done in the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man. Let's move on to the close of the show, and we will look forward to this coming Sunday. So as you will just magically switch browser tabs here. Before I do, it looks like we've got some comments on the stream. So just a couple here. Jason West says, the cage is where we keep Shane. He is not to be trusted. And then he said, if you want in the painting, eat all your veggies and drink your milk. He's gone all Kurt Angle on us there. I don't know what that's all about. I'll just refresh that because sometimes Facebook is a bit of a pain in the arse when it comes to comments. And down we go.
I've got it. That was the only comments we had so far. So
yeah, it looks like that's the only comments we've got at the moment. But so this coming Sunday is July 25th, the Glasgow Galaxy are making a trip up north to Aberdeen to face the Granite City Oilers. That's going to be an interesting game. Obviously, the Oilers just put our first loss on the board. The Galaxy have been struggling. So we'll see, who prevails in that matchup. A lot of it, I guess, will depend on, the bats for the Galaxy. Will the bats come to life, or are they going to continue to struggle? I don't think it's going to be long before they find themselves. They have just too much quality, top to bottom, in that lineup. In Glasgow, the Comets are hosting your Edinburgh Cannons.
You know what? I'll have to see if I can come on through for that game.
It would be lovely. It would be lovely if you could, man. It would be nice to see you.
I will have to bribe the wife to come on over. We'll see what happens.
But yeah, if you don't get through for that, I will be seeing you hopefully at the start of August anyway, because I'll be through in Edinburgh, as I said. But yeah, looking forward to that one. Obviously, the Cannons are starting to heat up. The Comets just got beat for the first time this year. It's a great test for us to be able to try and pick ourselves up from that first loss, and a good challenge to face. Looking forward to meeting the Cannons for the first time this season. It's always good to see Rory as well. He's a great guy. So it'll be a good day at the ballpark. And in your hometown of Edinburgh, your Devils are hosting the Tayport Breakers. The Breakers, they need to get that first win, I think, before the mid-season break. It would be unjust, I think, if they end up winless at the break, because they've got so much talent, they've put so much passion into the project, so we're hoping to get them a win. It has, of course, nothing to do with the fact that the Devils are first and half a game ahead of our Comets. That's a complete coincidence.
No bias at all, just a coincidence. Sure.
Yeah. No, it's going to be interesting to see if the Devils are going to keep this up. After this, there's only 4 more weeks of league games to go. There is a make-up week. Obviously, there are a couple of games from earlier in the season due to COVID that need to be made up. But, it's a short season this year. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward in the shortened second half as we head toward the postseason.
So we're almost there, but we'll see what happens. Still plenty of games to be played.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's wrap it up there for this week. Jason, what do you say? We are on Facebook, of course, at facebook.com/capsandpipes. We're on Twitter at capsandpipes. You're at Bubble and Baseball. I'm at John Capspipes. Once again, he's at Andy B as an artist. And we will call it a day there. Go to linktree.com/capsandpipes, and it's got like a wee bit of everything. So it's got our YouTube, Spotify, iTunes streams, or you can just search Ballcaps and Bagpipes at your podcast provider of choice.
That's right. There is no one else on the internet called Ballcaps and Bagpipes. We own that one.
Yeah. And I'll say it again, Ballcaps and Bagpipes, because I fucked it up at the start. I do apologise. We're even now. We're even. Thank you so very much to everyone for joining us, and we will be back next week.
Bye.
Bobby Benia.
You get that in there. You've got to stop it from live this time.